Good news, everyone! The face pack is finally ready. I'm Alexei, and I'm here to tell you about all the rigged eyes and noses and mouths and eyebrows that we got ready for you so you can stick them together and make your own characters. Let's go have a look.
Need rigs? Ace 5 Studios has rigs.
So this is what we have when you buy the face pack. We have a couple of eyes here, different types for your characters. We have a bunch of ears, eyebrows, noses, mustaches, and mouths, and they're all rigged. So if we start with eyes, we can see the obvious thing is if you grab the controls, you can move them around. You have different controls here. Reset PSI will close these eyes. I'm wondering what's happening. It's because the X thing is locked. There you go. So if you have some weird movement, don't forget to make sure that all these guys, X, Y, Z, are unlocked. So you have a bunch of controls on these. You can also control it with this button here. You can change the rotation if you want. And you have a slider comes up, which makes it roll up. So if you want to animate like so, you also have that option. You also have some squash and stretch here. This one is as if it's sitting on the ground, and this bottom one is a central one. And then this one lets you do a bit of animation in the middle. So that's those eyes. These eyes are pretty simple. They just have some controllers which you can move around and they will follow. I think that's nothing special there. These guys, usually when you click on them, you'll see inside somewhere there's either going to be some posemorphs, which you can modify. So for example, this one has scale down and you can change the width of it and you can move it in and out. And you can also make it happy and angry and closed. So you can do little blinks. And the same thing on the other one. So these guys are the same controls. Then further down you have these eyes, which once again, just open it up and have a look. Sometimes they have these ones again, you can control the thickness of these. You can make them mid up and down, inner up and down, so you can have this kind of emotion going on. You can also taper them together so they're kind of nice and sharp. And you have the inner thing so you can make them look angry. And you also have the left one up here. So that's that. And you can obviously just select this object and you can keyframe and move it around. Yeah, and rotate it. The eyes also simply have the same thing. Double click on it sometimes and find it. Sometimes the controls are there. Yeah, if you click on it, the controls are sometimes just on the object. So here we can control the scale of it, and we can also give it like this kind of upbeat, kind of happy thing, or closed blink kind of control, and you can also stretch them out if you want. So you can have this kind of eyes. And you can click this thing to have dead eyes, so you can just switch between the two. Same thing on the other one. So just double click on it until the mesh is selected, and there you go. These eyes also pretty self-explanatory. You have this movement for the aim, you have these two guys for the eyelids, which you can rotate. These ones are a bit less elaborate than the other ones, but sometimes you need this. It just depends on your setup. This controls, again, keep accidentally locking the X. This one controls the rotation, and you can also, each one of these kind of gives you a bit of a control. So you have that going there, and you can obviously also animate the whole object if you want. Eyebrows are pretty self-explanatory. Again, some of them have, if you select the object and press the S key, you'll find some of them have posemorphs. So angry, sad, happy, exaggerated. These are pretty simple. Some of them have more elaborate controllers. Also, when you're on this controller, you can also control its thickness here, and you can control the bevel a bit. So, and this one here lets you control the whole eyebrow location-wise. And then the one below here, basically the same thing, but it's just a thicker one. Again, you have this bevel that you can control, and the thickness of the eyebrow overall. These guys are identical, and then you have this kind of monobrow thing going on here where you can control the sides of it. You can get a nice S shape if you want. Also moving them left and right makes them wider if you for some reason want that. depending on what kind of thing you're animating. So that's kind of useful. The ears don't have any controls. They're just ears you can stick on your characters. The noses have some sniffing animation. So if you select them, some of them have this little sniffing posemorph. Mustaches, and the mouths also have, if you select them, this one has a background as well. So you have this thing where you can just apply some other color to it. So if you want the inner, but you can also hide it if you don't want it. And these guys have just select the mouse tube here, and you have a smile. If you can select two of them together and hold the control key, you select multiple control, you can move them up and down. So that's pretty useful. Right click on the little arrows to reset the center. Again, narrow, so you have an O shape if you want it. And you also have kind of a sealed and smiley open option here as well. So there you have it. This one also has similar controls. Just go down and find it's either on the top null or on the posemorphs. Here, if it has a little arrow, it's probably, if you drag it doesn't work, just check the top null. It probably has controls. So there you go. You can go sad, and you can change it to an O if you want. And it's all keyframeable here with these buttons. And this guy is very similar. It also is just upper lip, bottom lip. You also have some upper lip bigger. So you have a bunch of little controls you can adjust. Usually double clicking it will get you to where it is, and then you get a posemorph tag. And you can obviously hook these up with Expresso to anything you want, depending on how you're building your character. Yeah. So there you have it. Let's go have a look at how to build this, how to attach these to, say, the 5J. Okay, so let's say we want to apply this stuff to my 5J characters, or any other characters, really. What I recommend is mostly the 5J characters already have this thing called a head stuff. So if you scroll down in your accessories here, you'll see head stuff. And head stuff is basically just a null, which is constrained with a PSR tag to the joint of the head. And you can do this on any character. You just get the head joint and attach a null to it with a constraint tag. And then later, everything you put in here will move together. As you can see, I already have hair and a face in here. So if I move this face, it moves with the head. So it's not painted. It's just as long as the whole head mesh is painted completely to that joint, it'll look fine. And usually the head mesh is painted completely to that joint. So we delete this face. We go to our face pack. So let's select all of these, copy them, go to our new file and paste it. Now, it'll help you if you just align these a bit closer to where you want them, like I'd say around here. And now we can just grab the stuff we want. So let's say we want these pink brows and pink eyes. So let's move them across, move them out a bit, and figure out where we want to place them. And if you want to scale them, I recommend you make sure you use this object mode. So don't switch to model, go to object mode. So click and hold on this thing. It might be on this side of your window by default. So object mode, and then scale tool, and then you can scale them however you want. You can also scale just the eyes. You can select just the eye and make it bigger or smaller. You can select it together with the right brow with the right eye. And that way you can place them where you need it. There you go. Let's drag this guy down a bit. So we've got our eyes attached. Maybe let's pink eyes and brows. Maybe let's move them a bit more in here. Let's get our pink eye, maybe rotate him out a bit. There you go. Seems about right. And then we can just pick one of the noses. So go to this noses. It's a cloner, but disable it and you'll have all the noses there. So pick the one that you want, the upturned one, and move it across. And maybe move it out a bit. There you go. So you got it here. Again, make sure if you scale it, make sure you're scaling with the object mode here. Scale this guy up. There you go. A sideways nose. And then maybe pick one of these mouths. I like this mouth. And let's just move them across. Put inside. Now for the mouth, you might want to also see how, like, right now it's not you want it to be a bit more round, you can do this either with FFD Deformer. If you do it with an FFD Deformer though, I'll show you how that works. So let's go to mouth tube. Let's holding the shift key, make an FFD Deformer, and it'll be just around it. Now the problem is here. Let's grab our points. So select these points and select these points. I'm selecting them, by the way, with on the side of your mouse. There's 2 buttons usually, and if you click the one that's further to the forward and click and drag with it, you can do a temporary rectangular selection, which is really convenient. So use FFD to move back. As you'll see, it doesn't affect this inside one because you want the FFD to be just outside here. Maybe even outside here, but make sure your mouth tube is higher up. There you go. And then just move this whole thing out a bit. You rotate it a tad. And there you go, you have the selection. But now you will notice a problem. If you click on the mouth tube and we, for example, select the smile thing, you'll see it deforms because this FFD doesn't have an infinite effect. It only affects things inside the box. So what you do is just get this guy and just drag it up. And also you might want to make them a bit wider. Oops, not this one, sideways, because we have that wide animation there as well. So we also have the wide, so you want to make sure that's in there. And here, open still, maybe just move this whole thing a bit. Sorry, not the points in object mode. So here, maybe just move this whole thing a bit lower down. There you go. And maybe you want to get the points again and just move them a bit more in, so a bit further back. There you go. And then you have a nice face like that. I mean, a nice mouth kind of adapted to the shape of your character. You could also use a warp deformer. So if we unselect this, again, select the mouth tube, holding the shift key, select, there's this thing called where is it? Always losing it. Warp, there you go, or wrap. And as you can see, it does a similar thing. You just have to adjust the little controllers. Actually controls the whole mouth, so it could be useful. Just drag it out again, and next to the FFD. And there you go. So you can control the radius of this thing, and you can use this to control how far along it moves, and then you can just move the whole mouth. There's the mouth in. And there you go. And you have a similar effect, and all the animations still work. So that's also a useful thing if you have a more cylindrical surface. And you don't have to worry about the volume, it just affects everything. And basically then when we have these, right now, obviously if you move the head, they're not on it. But now we just have to select our eyes, which are our pink eyes, our pink brows, our mouth tube, and what else did we move? Our nose, right? Upturned. And you can either just drag them into this head stuff, but there's also this really convenient command called parent, set parent. Just press Shift C and type parent, and you'll see the set parent, and then just click on the head stuff, and it'll be instantly inside your head stuff. And now, there you go. Now you can rotate the head, and you have a rigged face, which is ready for, animation. Very straightforward. That's pretty much it for this one. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember, if you need rigs, Ace5 Studios has rigs. We have free rigs up here that you can use in your personal projects. We have Marty and Mia and 5JPack for explainers and arms and legs, and Maria has a bunch of cats and animals you can use. And here, if you go through, Marty has a full face rig, which it's lots of functionality. You can use them in your projects. Mia is also fully rigged. You can use her as a host or to sell your product. Also have the arms and legs pack, which you can put together to build your own characters. And they're already rigged, so you don't need to do any weight painting. You just have to stick them together and ready to go. Or you have 5J people for your explainer videos and other stuff. So don't forget to check it out, and see you next time.